Welcome back to the Bears Baseball Network. It is 2025, the brand new year here, and we've got another year of great Bears baseball. And today, our first show of the new year, we're going to be talking about the mid-season award races for the BWL. We are halfway through the BWL regular season, and we're going to take a look at the top award races for every single league. We have the MVP race and the Cy Young race, and we'll talk a little bit about the season as a whole. So let's jump right into it. We got a lot to talk about today. Let's start with the A-League. At 16-18U, the Pinstripes are 2-1-2 in this league. We've had two ties. This league has been very, very tightly contested. And starting with the MVP race in this league, I think right now you got to look at some of the Pinstripes. They have the better record right now. And the two names that stand out for me are Andrew Willerette and Wyatt Poore. KJ, you've had to play against these guys. These two are both very, very tough to get out. As far as the MVP race goes, who do you think has it right now, and what do you see going forward?
I think right now it's got to be Andrew Willerette. I mean, this guy, it seems like he gets a hit every time he's up. The guy never strikes out. He always gets hit. But I think going forward, I think Wyatt Poore's he's had a really good year, but I think he's almost gotten unlucky. He's had a lot of balls that have been hit and had to hit the top that in real games are extra base hits. And, Wyatt's still the scariest hitter on that team. So I think going forward, Wyatt can get this.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew Willerette, a 1950 OPS. He's been absolutely dominant. He's been a very, very tough out. And Wyatt Poore, he's, in terms of the batting average standard, a little bit lower than Andrew Willerette, but he's come up with more power than Andrew Willerette. He's really been that clutch hitter. Bernie, on the throwback side, I think the MVP's got to go to whichever team has the better record, but there's a lot of time for the throwbacks to get back in it. I think their two best hitters have been Ty Zazueta and Andrew Engelken. Two guys who I think, you've had a lot of respect for in the past. You've coached Andrew Engelken. You've been around Ty Zazueta for a long time. I think if you had asked me after 3 weeks, Ty is hands down the best player on this team. And if you had asked me after week 5, it's probably Andrew Engelken. I know you haven't seen a lot of this league, but from what you know about these hitters, what do you see of the MVP race between Andrew Engelken and Ty Zazueta?
Yeah, these are two obviously great hitters here, but I don't know if it's either guy you would have said would be the best hitter on this team at this point. There's a lot of good hitters on the squad. But moving forward, I think that Ty Zazueta is still a slightly better hitter than Andrew Engelken. I know Engelken's been hot lately, but I think Ty will end up taking this over at least from Andrew.
Bernie, looking at the Cy Young race, I think there's one clear front runner right now, and I'm sure it's no surprise to you. It's Logan Eckert. Bernie, listen to this. In 9 innings, he's got 19 strikeouts to just 2 walks. He's been absolutely dominant. Bernie, maybe not this year, but definitely in the past, we've had some talks about we know Logan can dominate, outside competition, but can he dominate against Bears? Because I think in his first BWL season, he kind of got hit by Bear hitters. This year, he's absolutely dominating them. Bernie, what do you think has made Logan Eckert so successful?
Yeah, with Logan going against Bears hitters and having this much success, I think the first thing I look at is the off-speed pitches. Obviously, if you're going to dominate some of these Bear guys that are really good fastball hitters, you got to have good off-speed pitches. I think that was Logan Eckert's knock in the past. And just based off these stats, without me even seeing the game at all, I can tell you that those off-speed pitches got a lot better.
Yeah, it's been absolutely dominant performance from him. It's definitely his award to lose. I think right now the runner-up would be Andrew Willerette. He's been the ace for that pinstripe squad. But right now I think Logan's kind of running away with that award. Moving into the B-League MVP, and I'll tell you what, this league has been very pitching dominant, so it's hard to find hitters that are doing well. But 2 hitters I think are really doing well. First of all, the records this league, the throwbacks have a 3-1-run record. So let's start with maybe not the guy with the best stats, but maybe the best hitter on the throwbacks, and that's Dane Pastrana. I mean, this guy's been very, very good. Maybe start a little bit slow week 1 and 2, but really come on as of late. KJ, what do you think of Dane Pastrana? He's had a really good offensive season for the B-League.
Yeah, Dane's the kind of guy that's at the top of the pinstripe order every week. The guy, he hits the ball hard. He's a great runner. He can hit for power. Dane kind of does it all. So he's really been the table setter up there.
And then, Bernie, another guy who's been the big power bat in the BWL for the B-League has been Evan Little. This guy, definitely no stranger to home runs. He's got 4, which ties for the league lead. I mean, Bernie, this guy is just absolutely dangerous at the plate. I think he, too, started a little bit slow at the beginning of the season, but he's been absolutely crushing the ball of late. Bernie, what do you think about Evan Little, his BWL season so far?
The cool thing about this B-League kind of is it's probably, some of these guys, didn't play on Rob's team a ton over the course of the year, but they get a shot here to really show what they're made of. Obviously, Colin Snyder did a great job of that last BWL. I think these two guys, both of them, Evan Little and Dane, are kind of making their cases for the spring 2025 rosters.
I said that this league's been very pitching dominant. We've got 4 guys in that Cy Young race who I all think could win it at this point. I think the current leader has got to be Nolan Chilton. This guy has got the best stats. He's been very, very effective on the mound. I'll pull it up here. He has got 11 strikeouts, 0 walks in 9 innings of work. He's been very, very effective. And I think Nolan Chilton's got to be the leader right now. KJ, when you look at what Nolan Chilton's been able to give you on the mound, I'm not sure if you thought he was going to be this dominant, but I think he's easily been the best pitcher in the B League. What do you think of Nolan Chilton so far?
Yeah, I think the thing about Nolan, he's not a hit or miss kind of pitcher. He's good every time he goes out. I mean, he's just a strike thrower, consistent strike thrower, and he's got good stuff as well to go with it. So, I think the thing that's lacking from him being in the A-League maybe the velocity. But, in terms of break stuff, in terms of command and, being consistent, a guy who's safe to go to every time, there's not much people better than Nolan Chilton.
It's interesting you say that because in the regular season, he wasn't necessarily known as a great control guy. Just shows you the adjustments he's made going to the BWL, how much better he's getting. And I think it's one of those things where we're witnessing a breakout firsthand. Bernie, 3 other guys who I think are kind of in the mix here. Alex Ruppel has had a very nice start to the BWL season. Max Sandler has done a really nice job. And Aiden Page, who probably has the best stats, but he's got only 4 innings, so it's hard to put him up there. These 3 guys have all been great. Bernie, hearing those 3 names, any of those surprise you? Who's the most surprising to see in the Cy Young race of Alex Ruppel, Max Sandler, and Aiden Page?
Yeah, I don't think any of these guys are necessarily surprising for me. All these 3 guys I thought had a real good shot here at winning this award. But I thought the most encouraging being Aiden Page because in order to be in the silent conversation, your walks have to be at least in a semi-decent spot. I think he had one amazing outing and one kind of shaky one. But I think that he needs to continue to pound the zone. And if this guy does that, he's going to be at the top of this conversation at the end of the year.
Yeah, in 4 innings, he's got 10 strikeouts, just 2 walks. He's been very, very good on the mound. If he continues that and adds some more innings to his repertoire, I think he's going to be a favorite for the Cy Young Award. Moving on to the 14-15U league, the Pinstripes are 5-0 in this league. It's been an absolute dominant performance, and I think we got to look at 3 Pinstripes hitters here who are kind of in the lead for the MVP race. Starting with the guy who I think is the favorite, although hot first 3 weeks, maybe slowing down a little bit, but I think he's still the favorite right now. That's Joey Burgess. I mean, this guy's been absolutely dominant. KJ, from what you've seen from Joey, you coached him last year in the BWL. He was kind of a bench warmer for you. He, got some pinch hit opportunities. Now he's the face of your offense. What has changed for you to turn Joey Burgess into an MVP candidate?
Yeah, I think Joey's, been much more of a consistent hitter this year. He's scary every time he goes up there. I think he's not afraid to get breaking balls. He's not afraid to get fastballs. I mean, he's ready for anything. So I think that's the approach Joey has definitely changed.
The other 2 guys kind of in that MVP conversation from this Pinstripes lineup, Hank Schultz, who a couple weeks ago we were saying he had like 7 at-bats, and he was tied for the lead in homers. That's how good he was. He's added some more at-bats now, so that number doesn't look quite as impressive, but he's still tied for the league in homers. He's just knocked the cover off the ball. And then Evan Lancaster, who's been very, very effective as well. Moving into the Cy Young conversation, Bernie, I think, again, it's not really a surprise. It's a 2-horse race right now. Lucas Wilburn, who's got the best Lucas Wilburn, who's got the best strikeout to walk of this group, and then Evan Lancaster, who's got the best ERA of this group. What do you think about these 2, Bernie? You know a lot about these 2. You've seen them pitch a lot. What do you think about their Cy Young aspirations right now?
Yeah, I think, I would still say Evan Lancaster's the best pitcher at this age group. This guy's just dominant, throws hard, right? Has a golf pitch. We know a lot about Evan Lancaster. Willie B, I think, might have kind of had the same knock as Eckert did, whereas off-speed pitches weren't, amazing. But pitching against Bears, man, you have to. So that just the stats alone tell me that his breaking ball's gotten better in precision over the course of his winter. I'm excited to see what he can do with it.
And then another guy, KJ, who's kind of a dark horse in this race is Colby Lair. He's been mostly out of the bullpen, so maybe that hurts his Cy Young case a little bit, but he's been very, very effective at getting out of big spots and closing out games. Colby, I think, came in with a lot of expectation, a lot of potential, but he's shown it a lot quicker than at least I thought. What have you thought about Colby Lair's pitching so far?
Yeah, here's what I know. The team is not 5-0 without Colby. He's came in to shut down a lot, get out of a lot of jams, and in all honesty, I think, Evan Lancaster, he's got the big strikeout numbers, but he's been a little shaky with the walk situation. I think Colby, as of right now, probably has my vote for Cy Young, the way he's been able to come in, get out of jams, pump strikes, be so consistent, be able to get strikeouts, be able to pitch contact when he has to. I think Colby's been the best all-around pitcher.
Moving into the 12-13U league, the Throwbacks have the better record at 3-2 in this one, but it's been a very tightly contested league. And Bernie, I think right now the second case for MVP is going to be Harrison Blaebaum. I think a big part of that is, pitchers are scared of him. Maybe he's getting a lot of off speed, hasn't got a lot to hit. I think right now, Bernie, the leader for the MVP award is Owen Haynes. He's the guy who's protecting Harrison in this lineup. He's getting a lot of pitches to hit, and he's been absolutely making the throwback or the pinstripes pay for it. What have you thought about Owen Haynes, and what do you think about Harrison Blaebaum potentially in the second half of the season making that MVP case as well?
Yeah, Owen Haynes is a great hitter. I think he plays well to kind of dimensions here. But there were some question marks I think before the season about the age, kind of playing up a little bit. Seasoned guys who throw harder like a Rudy, like an Alex Vogt, Owen Lewis, those type of guys. But I think Owen Haynes handled it really well. And look, Harrison, still the best hitter at this age group. He's going to make a run at this award and keep Owen Haynes on his toes here down the stretch.
KJ, this Pinstripes team maybe started a little bit slow to the season, starting to get some momentum back, though. When you look at the MVP, if the Pinstripes are able to take this league, I think right now the leader's got to be Kenny Douglas. I think he's been the best, most consistent hitter on this team. You got a couple other guys who've got MVP potential, but maybe start a little bit slow. So tell me about Kenny Douglas and anybody else you could see kind of making an MVP case at the second half of the season.
Yeah, I think Kenny's been the most consistent guy out of that group. Going forward, I think you can never count out Rudy. You can never count out Alex Vogt. But all around, it's been kind of a big team effort from that group. I think Kenny has been the most consistent, like you said, but it has been a big team effort. So, really any guy can step up here.
Looking at the pitching staff, I think it's been, again, a lot of guys who can compete for this award. Right now, I think it's really a two-horse race. Owen Haynes maybe could throw in there as well, but he's been mostly out of the bullpen. But I think the two-horse race right now, and the front runner for that, is Harrison Blaebaum. Harrison, we've talked about him being a big-time hitter for his whole Bear career. This most recent season in the fall, he was a Cy Young in the Bears, so his pitching success has translated into the BWL. He's been very, very good. And then coming up behind him, maybe a little bit more surprising, has been Hamilton Case. So he's one of the youngest players in the BWL. He's been very, very good. Let's start with Harrison, Bernie. I mean, you've seen this guy transfer from a guy who was not a pitcher at all in his first season with you. His second season, he pitched, here and there, and now he's an absolute top-of-the-rotation guy. Tell me about Harrison Blaebaum, Bernie, his pitching success.
Yeah, like you said, this guy's still, relatively new to pitching in terms of, some of the guys pitch for, much longer than him. But, the more this guy takes the mound, the more and more confident he's getting, and the better and better he's gotten. Again, we're going to a spot now next season where he's going to be, at worst, the number 2 on the team, if not the number 1 here. So, I'm glad to see he's having success here over the winter.
And then KJ Hamilton Case, I would say on draft night, he was probably your third, maybe even fourth guy in the rotation. And he, in my opinion, has been the best performing pitcher on this team. What have you thought about Hamilton Case? What's made him so successful? And what do you see going into the second half of the season?
Yeah, I think Hamilton's been, just as good as we kind of expected him to be. I mean, he had a really good winter in pitching. In my opinion, he's got one of the best curveballs, not just at the youth age, but, in all the Bears. I mean, he's got a disgusting curveball. He has a ton of break, and he can throw for strikes very consistently. So, Hamilton has really stepped up there. I'll say in Harrison's case, there was one week when Harrison doesn't have his curveball going, he can beat you with just a fastball. I think hands down Harrison is probably in the lead right now, but Hamilton definitely keeping his head in the race.
Yeah, it's been a very nice pitching performance. I mean, across the entire league, we've seen a lot of really good pitching, but Hamilton Case has been maybe the most impressive guy for me in terms of, my expectations, not because I don't believe in Hamilton, but just because he's playing against, older guys when he plays 12U, and now he's got to play against 13U guys as well. I think he's been very, very impressive with how good he's been. But that has been kind of the mid-season report here for the BWL, which kicks off again this week, so be sure to come out and check that out. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Bears Baseball Network, and we'll talk to y'all next week.